So Donald Trump has been telling the world that Iran is probably the biggest bully in the Middle East, and we're going to take care of that. But guess what? It's not happening. I mean, we're seeing right now U.S. completely unleashing its forces, trying to destroy the whole region, come up with all the tactical, surveillance and perhaps their whole cutting edge technology to try to completely dismantle Iranians' capabilities. But guess what? They've done completely nothing. I mean, the way Iran has fought back and the way Iran is trying to show its resilience is just mind-boggling. Because I think if there was any other state actor who was like fighting America, especially with that level, that sheer level of devastation, then I feel like that country would have been literally ripped apart. But Iran is thriving still. And I think it's probably the biggest reason is that their system, I think the way their countries run is just so different to how other countries are run. I feel like it's a mixture of everything. You've got democracy in there, you've got a pretty nice judicial system, presidential system, parliament system, then you've got the supreme leader, right? So I feel like their country is just so different to other countries. And also, it's probably because of the history as well. Because if you look at the history, we saw in the early 20th century, Russia tried to take over Iran. They couldn't, right? They, however, did agree to some really nasty leases and programs. But then it was the British. I think the British took over the entire oil industry of Iran. And I think it's probably because of their leader, Reza Pahlavi. And then we saw all the other kings, they tried to like just surrender to the British policies. And I think this whole anxiety was kind of fueling in Iranians from the beginning, the whole 20th century. And we saw that in the culmination of Khomeini taking over in 1979. And it did so because Khomeini tried to come up with a very sustainable solution. He wanted to control not just the country's policies, but also to completely get rid of all the international influence. And they did so. And so far, that's why they've been quite successful in completely like expanding their influence across the region and making sure that Iran remains safe and protected, right? But in 2026, we're seeing a completely different gameplay in 2026. The Middle East is completely rewiring for another battle. We've seen Iran fight back with its sharp and smart diplomacy as well. But right now, I think the biggest reason why America is so pissed at Iran is because that Iranians don't trust Donald Trump. And why should they? Because Donald Trump has been going back and forth on their memorandum of understanding, and I think most of the tenants have been really violated by U.S. And according to the American outlets, that first it was first Iran that attacked Omani ships, right, close to the Omani border. But it's actually, I don't think it's true because America had been lying to its own public for years now. And they just wanted to take a moment to just take a little spark and just create something, a situation where they can wreak havoc on Iran. Like we saw, I think one of the clips from it was JD Vance was saying that we wanted to take some time off and perhaps come back with some more power and then take over the country. But I think Iranians kind of knew that, and that's probably why they look so ready. They look more prepared than ever. And so that's number one. I think trust is the biggest issue. Secondly, I think there's no meaningful contact. I mean, since the last April summit in Islamabad, we haven't seen like these two guys, get together in a very diplomatic way. Like we saw what happened in Switzerland. I think it was a complete disaster because those guys didn't really meet. Then we saw Pakistan play its crucial role. Qatar was quite instrumental, but still American, like the especially Donald Trump, its cabinet members and Iranians, the young Iranians, right? Since America took over, I mean, took its leader away, so now Iranians have they're showing more anxiety right now. They're furious. They are seriously, you know, unhappy with what happened in the last couple of weeks. So the Iranian regime also want to impress, also want to do something about it, to show some retaliation, and to really endure the circumstances. And I think that's probably explained why Iran is so powerful this time with its tactics. So we're going to see more of more of a combo, more of a different level of fight here right now. But I do think that if there is any diplomacy, if there is a chance where I think Iran can play its cards and where America could also come to an understanding, I think it will be majorly on that Strait of Hormuz. And also, it could be on Israel. I think Israel has been probably the most destructive, the most evil actor in the region, trying to provoke this war, and they did it. But now, I think the way Iran is fighting with its, U.S. proxies, like we have all the Middle Eastern countries, I feel like that is also something astonishing to look at. So yeah, there's a lot that's happening that I'm really pissed off, honestly, like especially the way that this war restarted, and it has completely ruined my country, Pakistan, as well, economically. But I do think, hopefully, we're going to reach a conclusion where America and Iran come to a conclusion, a serious memorandum of understanding, and hopefully Iranians, they keep fighting back, and that's been like the most impressive thing so far. But I hope that Iran does not give up, and they won't, by the way. Uh, and I hope that Iran gets its ultimate victory.